Today's news highlights. Date February 3, 2025. News highlights: the rise of DeepSeek and Trump's tariff war have triggered shocks in global technology stocks, and Taiwan stocks have added variables to the red market today, and the probability of making up for losses is high. During the shutdown of Taiwan stocks, the FABAN index fell 6%, Nvidia fell 14%, and TSMC, ASE and UMCADR corrected simultaneously. Trump's announcement of additional tariffs on China, Canada, and Mexico has sparked panic in the market, and Taiwan stocks may be backtested by 23,000 points. The financial department responded urgently, and the FSC paid close attention to the impact of DeepSeek's low-cost AI technology and tariffs, and closely monitored market changes. News highlights: Taipower's RMB 200 billion subsidy budget is likely to be in vain, and the review of electricity prices in March is under upward pressure. Taipower accumulated a loss of 422.9 billion yuan, and the financial level was flat, and the electricity price was raised by 6.6%. The Ministry of Economic Affairs has formulated two plans: not to raise international energy prices for the time being, or to raise the electricity price for people's livelihood. If adjusted, it may rise for 3 consecutive years. The industrial electricity price has risen by more than 60% 4 times, and the people's livelihood electricity price is still losing more than 1 yuan per kilowatt-hour. The deletion of the budget by the legislative yuan may affect the renewal of power equipment, and the Ministry of Economic Affairs stressed that it will be discussed at the review meeting to retain room for adjustment. News highlights: UBS's latest report predicts that the rally of Taiwan stocks will slow down in the first half of the year, and it may consolidate before the end of the year, giving a reduced rating, with the target index of 23,870 points, optimistic 25,330 points, and pessimistic 20,400 points. Although bearish on the market, we are still optimistic about TSMC, Caimao, Quanta, Asahi Falcon, Silicon Power *KY, Mediatek, ASE Investment Control, Ruhong and other 8 stocks. Affected by US-China trade tensions and weak exports, GDP is expected to grow by 3.2% in 2025. UBS recommends focusing on AI, high dividends, and specific growth stocks, as well as the housing market and interest rate policy changes. News highlights: DeepSeek joined hands with Huawei to launch the Cabbage Price AI service, with 4 yuan for input and 16 yuan for output per million tokens, which is much lower than OpenAI, causing a market shock. The industry is skeptical about its low-cost model, but DeepSeek continues to cooperate with Chinese celebrities to quickly accumulate users and impact AI stocks such as Nvidia and Supermicro. The service has been adapted to Huawei's Ascend NPU, symbolizing a breakthrough in domestic AI. Tencent, Microsoft, Amazon and other companies have also launched the DeepSeek model, and more GPU manufacturers may join in the future, intensifying market competition. News highlights: the Trump administration has announced steep tariffs on imports from Mexico, Canada, and China. Tariffs of 25% on Mexico and 10% on China are aimed at tackling illegal immigration and fentanyl and safeguarding national security. A 10% tariff will be imposed on Canadian energy products. These new tariffs are scheduled to be implemented on February 5. The White House stressed that the measures were based on economic and security considerations, and said the United States would further increase tariffs in retaliation. News highlights: the AI model DeepSeek R1 released by Chinese artificial intelligence company DeepSeek on January 20 has attracted global attention, claiming that its functions are comparable to OpenAI, and the cost is low and the computing power requirements are small. This model quickly surpassed ChatGPT, driving the AI competition between China and the United States to heat up. The US stock market was affected by this, and major AI companies suffered sharp declines. DeepSeek has been questioned about whether it relies on OpenAI technology for distillation, and has raised security concerns about China's AI development in the United States, which may prompt the United States to tighten restrictions on Chinese technology. News highlights: a netizen shared his absurd experience of taking an airport transfer service with his family. The driver was fatigued, disoriented, and unsteady on the way, and kept applying green oil essence to refresh himself until he couldn't respond. Netizens who were worried about safety decisively asked for a change of driver, but as a result, the driver fell asleep as soon as he sat in the passenger seat, and he couldn't wake up until he arrived at the airport. The incident aroused the attention of netizens, who said that fatigue driving is more terrible than drunk driving, and suggested that they should choose the pickup service more carefully. News highlights: last night, a netizen from the online group Exploding Waste Commune broke the news that a big star in Taiwan had passed away, and pointed out that she was a 48-year-old married woman with children, and mentioned that the news was related to Meteor Garden, implying that Big S had passed away. However, after being verified by the media and many sources, no definite response has been received. The Japanese flu emergency mentioned in the content of the revelation does not match the whereabouts of Big S, and Big S has been in good health recently, which makes people question the authenticity of the revelations. The news has caused heated discussions among netizens, but there is still no official confirmation. News highlights: Kuomintang legislator Luo Zhiqiang went to Japan for 3 days on foot during the Chinese New Year, walking a total of 130,000 steps to pray for his parents in Taiwan. However, when he returned to China, he found that the Green Camp Cyber Army had spread rumors during the Chinese New Year, accusing him of cutting his long-term care budget and even attacking his parents. Luo Zhiqiang posted a counterattack on Facebook, clarifying the facts. The long-term care budget has not been deleted, but only the administrative budgets of the CDC and the Food and Drug Administration. He denounced the DPP's use of cyber forces to smear and questioned whether the government was incapable of governing. News highlights: the Facebook page Japanese Traveler Travel Shopping Food Information broke the news about the sudden death of Taiwan's big star, and hinted at Big S, making netizens worry about her condition. Although Big S himself, Little S, Wu Piasai and others have not yet responded to the media, Wang Xiaofei's actions have attracted more attention. He recently spent the Spring Festival in Thailand, but changed his all-black avatar on Douyin, which caused netizens to worry and began to speculate whether it was related to the news of Big S. Wang Xiaofei's mother Zhonglan also mentioned that S took her child to South Korea for the new year, which further sparks speculation, but there is no confirmed news at present. News highlights: Xia Chaoyuan, the defendant in the 500 million high school student case and assistant to the land magistrate, has been sentenced to 1 year and 6 months in prison on suspicion of forging documents and having a fake marriage with a high school student to inherit the inheritance. The Taichung District Prosecutor's Office has activated the anti-escape mechanism and has served a summons, and the implementation date is scheduled for the first day after the Spring Festival holiday, that is, today, 3rd. Due to the high degree of social concern in this case, the Procuratorate has already strengthened its investigation and monitoring and prevented the defendant from fleeing. News highlights: Big S, Su Ziwan, died of influenza complicated by pneumonia at the age of 48, shocking all walks of life. She has been hospitalized multiple times in the past for health issues such as epilepsy, mitral valve prolapse, and has experienced 2 miscarriages. In 2016, she had a seizure when she gave birth to a child, and in 2018, she had a relapse due to a cold, and her physical and mental health has always been concerned by the outside world. News highlights: Dr. Chan pointed out that during the Chinese New Year, the emergency room was crowded with patients, and many children brought their parents' chronic diseases into the emergency department due to filial piety, forming the Tianbian filial piety syndrome. This kind of problem has existed for a long time, but it is chosen to flood the emergency department during the New Year, causing unnecessary overcrowding. He suggested that children should understand their parents' needs in advance, prepare standing medicines or assist in registration, and wait for the resumption of specialist outpatient clinics in the future, so as to avoid occupying emergency resources and leave emergency services to those who really need them. News highlights: on the evening of the first in Dongguo Tianho Temple, Baidu Town, Zhonghua, a black dog barked, and when the temple cleaned up the fragrant feet, it was found that about 15 centimeters of bones coated with cinnabar were found. The temple suspected that someone had maliciously provoked and immediately reported to the police. Lin Jiancheng, the executive director of the Baidu Tianho Temple, believes that he may be jealous or deliberately endangered by someone because of the exuberance of incense, and it is not possible to confirm whether the bones are human bones. News highlights: the Facebook fan special Japanese traveler travel shopping food information suddenly broke the news on the 2nd, pointing out that a 48-year-old married actress in Taiwan passed away, causing netizens to speculate that it was Big S, Su Ziwan. Big S's family later confirmed that he passed away due to influenza complicated by pneumonia, shocking all walks of life. Big S has a history of epilepsy in the past, has been hospitalized in a coma many times, and even almost died on the operating table when he gave birth to a child. She also appeared at Wang Weishong's daughter's wedding banquet recently, and she looked good. The news once sparked doubts on the internet, and finally determined to be the unfortunate truth. News highlights: as fraud syndicates are rampant, you should immediately conduct a health check on your line account to avoid leakage of personal information. Using your mobile number as your line ID may expose your personal information and become a target for scams. If your line ID contains important information, such as your phone number and ID number, you can request a reset from customer service. If you can't reset it, please turn off the allow you to add friends with your ID function and add friends via QR code. In addition, remember to set up a phone number, email, and password when changing to a new one, and consider linking an Apple ID or Google account to log in more conveniently. News highlights: on the 2nd, the news of the sudden death of a Taiwanese actress due to influenza spread on the internet, and the focus was on Big S earlier. Xiao S confirmed through his agent that Big S unfortunately passed away at the age of 48. Xiao S said that when Big S traveled to Japan during the Spring Festival, he died of influenza complicated by pneumonia, and was deeply saddened. I am grateful to be her sister in this life. Take care of each other and accompany each other. I will always be grateful to her and miss her. News highlights: U.S. Secretary of State Rubio met with panelist President Ma Murino on the 2nd, expressing the U.S. concern about China's influence on the Panama Canal and warning that necessary actions will be taken if there is no change. Murino responded that he would not renew China's Belt and Road Agreement, stressing that the ownership of the canal belongs to Panama and there is no room for discussion. Murino said he understood the concerns of the U.S. side and proposed to hold technical consultations to explain the situation. Previously, Panama established diplomatic relations with China in 2017 and joined the Belt and Road Initiative. News highlights: artist S. Su Ziwan traveled to Japan during the Spring Festival, unfortunately suffered from flu and pneumonia, and was confirmed by Xiao S. Su Ziti, agent today at the age of 48. In his response, Xiao S thanked everyone for their concern, and revealed that Big S passed away during the trip and was deeply saddened and missed. News highlights: recently, a netizen posted on the social platform, sharing that he chose to go to Japan for the Chinese New Year for the 3rd consecutive year, but this year he was disappointed with Japan's experience, and pointed out that the friendliness of Japanese people to Taiwanese has decreased significantly. He mentioned that the hot spring hotel he stayed at this time had a poor service attitude, even loud quarrels, and felt that the overall service quality had deteriorated, especially when dining with other Chinese-speaking Taiwanese tourists. He felt some alienation. This post struck a chord with many netizens, many of whom said that the quality of service in Japan has indeed declined recently. News highlights: to S. Su Ziwan unfortunately passed away due to influenza complicated by pneumonia at the age of 48. She and her sister Xiao S made their debut in the girl group S.O.S, and became an Asian idol by starring in Meteor Garden. Her love history and marriage have become the focus of the entertainment industry many times. After 2 marriages, she fought a lawsuit after divorcing Wang Xiaofei, and reunited with Gu Junyi and remarried, causing a topic. The death of Big S shocked all walks of life, and his family and fans were deeply saddened. News highlights: in order to counter the constitution-destroying acts of the blue and white legislators in the National Assembly, local recall groups actively sought the signing of the petition even during the Spring Festival. Today, physician Shi Zhenhua, anti-communist internet celebrity Bajiang, UMC founder Cao Xingcheng and others showed up to show their support. Cao stressed that this recall is a holy war against the communist bandits and the elimination of internal traitors, and an action to defend democracy and freedom, and called on Taiwan citizens to stand up and participate in the recall, protect national sovereignty and constitutionalism, and convey to China the determination that Taiwan will not be conquered by force. News highlights: to S. Su Ziwan died in Japan due to influenza complicated by pneumonia at the age of 48. She became an Asian icon in 2001 when she starred in Meteor Garden, and has since participated in many classic works, such as A Chinese Ghost Story, Marriage Proposal Office, Unit 3 Love Letter and Corner *Meets Love. The three main actors of the play, including Little Ghost, Huang Hongsheng, and Zhang Luwei, chubby brother, have also passed away. Da's death shocked all walks of life, and the family thanked her for their concern and expressed their infinite nostalgia for her. News highlights today. 3rd, a strong continental cold air mass moved southward, the cloud and rain area of South China moved eastward, the temperature dropped sharply, and the north and northeast were wet and cold all day long, with a wide range of rainfall. The north coast of Keelung and the mountainous areas of Greater Taipei have long rainfall periods, and there is a chance of locally heavier rainfall. Lin Jiakai, the weather anchor of MINTV, said that the temperature will continue to drop today, and it will be even colder tonight, which is expected to affect Wednesday, 5th, and it will warm up slightly during the day on Wednesday. Remind the public that another wave of cold air will be ushered in from Saturday, 8th, and the temperature will drop again. News highlights to S. Su Ziwan, unfortunately passed away due to influenza complicated by pneumonia at the age of 48. Xiao S confirmed the bad news through his agent and expressed his infinite nostalgia. Big S's last Instagram post was in December 2024, sharing her husband Gu Junyi's performance and praising him for being super cool. In addition, her ex-husband Wang Xiaofei changed the social platform avatar to black before the news was confirmed, which aroused the attention and speculation of netizens. News highlights the White House's announcement that President Trump will raise tariffs on Canadian, Mexican, and Chinese goods sent global stock markets through the news. On Friday, U.S. stocks closed in the red, with the Dow Jones down 337 points, or 0.75%, to close at 44,544. Asian stock markets fell sharply today, with the Nikkei stock average plummeting at the open, once falling more than 1,000 points. The South Korea Composite Index was similarly affected, falling below 2,500 points at the open, reaching a low of 2,447.62 points. Trump's announcement of 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico and 10% tariffs on China has sparked concerns and weighed on investor sentiment. News highlights last night, the Facebook fan special Japanese travelers, travel, shopping, food information revealed without warning that a 48-year-old Taiwanese star passed away due to flu complicated with pneumonia, and mentioned the Meteor Garden, which caused netizens to think of Big S. Although many people questioned the authenticity of the news, Big S's relatives, friends, and studio have not yet responded. Subsequently, some netizens found that the Douyin avatar of Big S's ex-husband Wang Xiaofei turned black, which further sparked speculation. Later, Xiao S's agent confirmed the death of Big S and said that she unfortunately passed away due to flu complicated by pneumonia. News highlights U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio met with Panama President Moreno on the 2nd to discuss Panama's withdrawal from China's One Belt, One Road initiative. After the meeting, Moreno announced that he would not renew the agreement, stressing that Panama will continue to cooperate with the United States. Rubio strongly stated that the United States could not accept China's control of the Panama Canal and threatened to take the necessary measures to protect American interests. For his part, Moreno said he would investigate the Panamanian port company and clarify relations with China. News highlights 48-year-old Taiwanese actress S. Su Ziwan, who has debuted for more than 31 years, has classic masterpieces such as Meteor Garden and God of War. After she and her ex-husband Wang Xiaofei ended their 11-year marriage, she reunited with her old love Gu Junyi and remarried. Today, it was reported that she passed away due to influenza complicated by pneumonia, and her sister Xiao S has confirmed the news. According to reports, the funeral of Big S will be cremated in Japan, the ashes will be brought back to Taiwan, and the issue of inheritance distribution has also aroused concern. The news of Big S's death shocked the Taiwanese entertainment industry, and fans couldn't accept her sudden death. News highlights Li's recall continued during the Chinese New Year period, and the first phase of the petition was met. The news that Li Yangziu owns real estate in the United States and China has been revealed again, especially the fact that she has not declared her real estate in the United States, which has caused heated discussions. Writer Ku Ling posted a mocking post on Facebook, saying that Li Yangziu forgot to declare an American house, and reminded Lin Chan of how he used pocket money to dispose of property, humorously satirizing that poverty limits our imagination. He called on the people to remove Li Yangziu. News highlights 48-year-old Taiwanese actress S. Su Ziwan, who has classic works such as Meteor Garden, recently passed away due to influenza complicated by pneumonia at the age of 48. After S and her ex-husband Wang Xiaofei ended their 11-year marriage, they remarried their old love Gu Junyi. Yesterday, the Facebook fan special Japanese traveler travel shopping food information posted that Taiwan's big star died of illness and provided clues for netizens to guess that it was Big S. Xiao S's agent later confirmed his death, and Big S's death shocked the entertainment industry and caused grief among fans. News highlights the NBA broke out again with a blockbuster deal. According to ESPN, the Kings, Spurs and Bulls completed a three-way deal. The Kings sent Fox to the Spurs in exchange for Lavine for the Bulls. The Spurs get Fox and McLaughlin, while the Kings get Lavine, Sissoko, 3 first-round picks, 2025 Hornets, 2027 Spurs, 2031 Grey Wolves, and 3 second-round picks, 2025 Bulls, 2028 Nuggets, 2028 Kings. The Bulls acquired Collins, Jones, Herter, and took home the 2025 draft pick from the Spurs. News highlights to S. Su Ziwan, died of influenza complicated by pneumonia on the 3rd at the age of 48. Her sister Xiao S confirmed the news. S has experienced many vigorous romances, including romances with Black Chen Jianzhou, Lan Zhenglong, and Zhou Yuman, as well as marrying Wang Xiaofei and having a son and a daughter. Later, she reunited with Han Xing Gu Junyi and got married, but she died of illness less than 3 years after marriage, leaving relatives and friends deeply saddened. News highlights Chinese AI startup DeepSeek recently released its AI model R1, which has attracted global attention, claiming that the training cost is only $6 million, and the performance is comparable to OpenAI. On January 27, the DeepSeek app topped Apple's App Store, causing technology stocks to plummet, and Nvidia's market value evaporated by $592.6 billion in a single day. US experts questioned DeepSeek's possible use of distillation technology to steal data, and Microsoft and OpenAI launched an investigation. The US government is evaluating restricting sales of Nvidia chips to China and blocking the DeepSeek model, and the US Congress and Italy have joined the blockade. News highlights: Kings, Spurs, and Bulls made a three-way deal. Kings sent Fox to Spurs and Hurt to Bulls in exchange for Lavine, Sissoko and multiple draft picks. The Spurs acquired Fox and McLaughlin, while the Bulls acquired Hurt, Collins, Jones and a first-round pick. Fox teamed up with Wembanyama, and Lavine stepped up the Kings' offense. Fox averaged 25 points and 6.1 assists per game this season, while Lavine had 24 points and 4.8 rebounds. News highlights: Andy Lau and Julikin have a daughter after marriage, and it is recently rumored that the two frequently go to the Klang Snake Temple in Malaysia to pray for a child. Internet celebrities visited the temple and found stone pillars engraved with the names of Julikin and Lu Xionghui, and saw the thank you plaque of Andy Lau and his wife. According to reports, Andy Lau learned about the Snake Temple due to his father-in-law's introduction, sponsored it in a low-key manner for many years, and prayed in the name of Lao Yerong, hoping for a smooth career and family. News highlights: Taiwanese artist Su Ziwan, Big S, died in Japan on February 2 at the age of 48 due to influenza complicated by pneumonia. Sister Su Ziti, Xiao S, confirmed the bad news through her agent and sighed, "I am grateful to be her sister in this life, to be with each other, I will always miss her." Big S debuted in 1994 with Little S to form S.O.S, and became popular with Meteor Garden and became a representative figure in the Chinese entertainment industry. The news shocked all walks of life, and fans were reluctant to mourn. News highlights today: 3rd, with the support of former UMC chairman CAO Xing Cheng, recall groups from all over the country submitted a recall proposal to the Central Election Committee by 18 legislators and Hsinchu Mayor Gao Honggan, and the first phase has exceeded 100,000 signatures. In response, the CEC said that the old provisions would still apply to the recall cases filed before the amendment and would be dealt with in accordance with the law. So far, 19 recall applications have been received, of which 18 are for the recall of legislators and 1 is for the recall of mayors, which will be forwarded to the local election committees for verification, and the election organs will not comment on specific cases. News highlights: since yesterday, there has been news on the internet that Taiwan's big star has passed away. According to the prompt, the star is about 48 years old, married and has children, and revealed that the family will make public the news after cremation. Netizens speculate that it may be Big S. Today, Xiao S issued a statement confirming that Big S died of influenza complicated by pneumonia at the age of 48. The funeral of Big S will be cremated in Japan, and the family is currently negotiating a farewell ceremony, and the ashes will be sent back to Taiwan. It is worth noting that the divorce lawsuit between S and her ex-husband Wang Xiaofei is still unresolved, and Wang Xiaofei will rush back to Taiwan from Thailand to deal with follow-up matters and pay attention to inheritance issues. News highlights: the lottery of the Nian Street Market in Niepo Township, Pingtung County, has recently sparked heated discussions, because the winner of this year's biggest prize car is the same as last year, causing netizens to question whether there is a black box. Some netizens pointed out that the two winners are almost identical in appearance and dress, and think that such a coincidence is too lucky. The township office responded that there was a public video of the lottery process to ensure that there was no cheating, and emphasized that if you really want to cheat, you will not choose the same person. The owner of the township office, Milin Mingzi, said that such a small chance of winning the lottery does make people feel very evil, and also said that this has become a legend of Niepo. News highlights: actress S, Su Ziwan, traveled to Japan with her family during the Spring Festival, and unfortunately contracted the flu and pneumonia during the trip at the age of 48. According to the tour guide who was in charge of receiving Su's family, S developed symptoms of cough and asthma on January 29, arrived in Hakone Town, Kanagawa Prefecture that night, and did not leave the hotel for the next 2 days. On the evening of the 31st, his condition worsened, and he was taken to the hospital and returned to the hotel. On February 1, she was undiagnosed in a small hospital, and then transferred to a major hospital to be diagnosed with influenza A and prescribed medication, but her condition deteriorated sharply and she was declared dead on the morning of the 2nd. News highlights today: 3rd, a strong continental cold air mass moved south, the temperature dropped in various parts of Taiwan, the north and Yunnan were wet and cold, and the rainfall was widespread, and there were localized heavy rains on the north coast of Keelung and the mountainous areas of Greater Taipei. There are also opportunities for rainfall in other areas in Penghu, Kinmen, and Matsu. Temperatures will gradually decrease, dropping to 10 to 12 degrees in the evening in the north. Meteorological experts predict that tonight to tomorrow morning will be the coldest period, with lows of 8 to 11 degrees north of Mili and Yunnan. It will turn dry and cold from tomorrow, and there will still be brief rain in some mountainous areas in the eastern half. Temperatures have risen since Thursday, but strong cold air has moved south on Friday. News highlights: former President Tsai Ing-wen reviewed her cooperation with Trump in an interview with The Times, saying that she had successfully put Trump on Taiwan's side. In this regard, former legislator Lin Zhou posted a sarcastic post on Facebook, pointing out that Trump has frustrated Canada and other countries, but Tsai Ing-wen can get Trump's support, showing that she has diplomatic skills, even surpassing Kissinger. He also ridiculed that Ms. Tsai should instruct other leaders on how to respond to Mr. Trump's challenge. Netizens reacted differently, with some criticizing and others praising Tsai Ing-wen as an excellent leader. News highlights: recently, some netizens reported that the family met the conditions, but could not be rebuilt because one household did not agree, which caused heated discussions. Chen Zhiming, director of the Real Estate Center of Omniway Technology, pointed out that although there are nail households, according to the law, if they meet the threshold of the metropolitan change, 80% in general areas, 75% in priority areas, and 50% in dangerous areas, they can still be forced to promote metropolitan changes. However, in the process, the nail household can prolong the deliberation time by delaying the meeting in other means, and some cases may even be delayed for more than 10 years. If the nail owner is only seeking higher profits, he may end up being excluded, resulting in a decrease in the value of the property. News highlights: Big S, Su Ziwan, confirmed his death today, 3rd, at the age of 48. During a trip to Japan with her family, she unfortunately contracted influenza complicated by pneumonia, and her life could not be saved after being rescued. Sister Xiao S confirmed the bad news through her agent and expressed her infinite nostalgia for her sister. Big S and Wu Zongxian once cooperated in the variety show I Guess. In this regard, Wu Zongxian was deeply shocked when he heard that Big S died, and expressed his grief and condolences for her passing, saying that although he was not a close friend, he couldn't calm down after years of cooperation, and sighed heavenly jealousy. News highlights actress Da-S, Suzy Wan, unfortunately passed away during the Spring Festival due to influenza complicated by pneumonia at the age of 48, and her sister Xiao S confirmed the bad news today, 3rd. Da-S and her ex-husband Wang Xiafei have a pair of children, and the outside world is concerned about the ownership of the children. Internet celebrity lawyer Ba Mao said that unless Gu Junyi adopts a child, the custody will go to his biological father Wang Xiafei, and Gu Junyi cannot fight for it. As for the estate, lawyer Ba Mao believes that Gu Junyi and the 2 children will be divided equally, but the part of the minor children may be controlled by Wang Xiafei. Lawyer Ba Mao also lamented that for Gu Junyi, losing his wife is more sad than money. News highlights Ms. Wu accused the police of illegal stalking and questioned Taipei Mayor Chang Wanan for directing the police to act beyond the bounds. She made public the trail records, revealing that the police continued to follow the police for more than a kilometer, and criticized Zhang Wanan for supporting the police on the surface, but in fact holding the police accountable, describing the move as a restoration of martial law. Wu Jing'ai even hinted that the incident may involve the internal struggle of the Kuomintang, which has aroused social concern and discussion. News highlights Trump signed an executive order on February 1 to impose 25% tariffs on goods from Canada and Mexico, and 10% tariffs on Chinese goods, effective February 4. Trump's move is aimed at reviving U.S. manufacturing, increasing fiscal revenues, and using tariffs as a diplomatic weapon to negotiate. However, these tariffs can lead to costs for consumers and have an impact on the U.S. economy. Even so, Trump believes tariffs can help improve America's trade imbalance and protect domestic industry. News highlights the news of the unfortunate death of Big S, Suzy Wan, has attracted attention and discussion from all walks of life. Many people were shocked by the passing of Big S, especially after her sister Xiao S, Suzy, confirmed the news through her agent, and fans couldn't accept such sad news. At the same time, Zhang Lan, the ex-mother-in-law of Big S, posted on Weibo, which caused a lot of controversy and criticism, although her post did not directly mention Big S, but netizens speculated that it was related to this matter, and fiercely criticized Zhang Lan's remarks. News highlights in 2024, Taiwan's new labor retirement fund performed well, earning 698.97 billion yuan by the end of the year, with a yield of 16.16%, a record high. It is expected that in March 2025, the labor dividend will climb to about 55,000 yuan per labor account, becoming the year with the largest labor dividend. In the first half of 2024, the fund's income has reached RMB 539.87 billion, demonstrating the positive impact of the recovery of the global financial market on the fund's operations. The Labor Insurance Bureau emphasized that due to the different amounts and periods of each worker's contributions, the amount of dividends will vary according to individual circumstances. News highlights while working as a cleaner at the hospital, a man surnamed Pan in Kaohsiung sexually assaulted her in August 2022 by taking advantage of his relationship with Xiao, a woman with moderate intellectual disabilities. Xiao reported to the nurse and reported to the police. Pan Nan was initially convicted of indecency, and after the prosecution appealed, the original verdict was revoked in the second instance, and the sentence was changed to the crime of forcible intercourse, and he was sentenced to 7 years and 4 months in prison. The court found that Pan's crime was serious and he did not show remorse in court, and pointed out that his criminal behavior caused great harm to Xiao. News highlights the 48-year-old artist Da-S died of flu complicated by pneumonia, which was shocking. According to Su Yifeng, a thoracic physician, Da-S may be overworked from travel and his immunity has decreased, resulting in the deterioration of the flu condition. In addition, the condition is aggravated by the possibility of delays in seeking medical treatment abroad. Da-S did not have a chronic disease, but still passed away due to influenza complicated by severe pneumonia, and the doctor pointed out that bad luck may be one of the reasons, and emphasized that receiving influenza vaccination can reduce the risk of infection and the chance of severe disease. News highlights Dong Zizan said that if the DPP sends So Kai-Huai to run in the 2026 new Taipei mayoral election, the KMT's Li Sichuan, Hong Menkai or Lu Heron can easily win. He believes that So Kai-Huai's personal characteristics are not obvious, and it is difficult to attract voters' support. In contrast, Li Sichuan has rich municipal experience, and Hong Menkai and Lu Heron also have strong local roots, both of which have advantages. News highlights Da-S, Suzy Wan, traveled to Japan with his family during the Spring Festival, but died suddenly of influenza complicated by pneumonia at the age of 48. According to reports, Da-S began to have cough and asthma on January 29, and his condition gradually deteriorated, and finally passed away in a Tokyo hospital on February 2. Before she died, her family, including Gu Junyi and Xiao S, was by her side. After the news was exposed, Gu Junyi also responded for the first time, confirming the death and revealing that he was in poor condition and was in a sad mood. News highlights Taiwan stocks fell more than 1,000 points at the opening of the Year of the Snake, and TSMC fell more than 6%, and the market sentiment was pessimistic. Reasons include the collapse of U.S. stocks and the impact of Trump's tariff war, with semiconductors in particular being the next target. Experts pointed out that whether the decline in Taiwan stocks can be stopped depends on Trump's policy. If the tariff war expands, TSMC may bear the brunt, further dragging down the performance of Taiwan stocks. Investors are worried about the uncertainty in the market and worry that the semiconductor industry will be hit. News highlights Da-S, Suzy Wan, died of influenza complicated by pneumonia in Japan during the Spring Festival at the age of 48. Sister Xiao S confirmed the news with grief. Da-S had a close relationship with producer Wang Weishong before his death, and attended the banquet of Wang's beloved daughter Ginning. Wang Weishong's wife, Sister Xiaowai, revealed that when she received a call from SS mother, she mistakenly thought it was a dispute between husband and wife, but she learned that it was the bad news of her death, which was heartbreaking. News highlights U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an order to impose tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China, mainly on goods such as electronic devices, cars, and smartphones. The imposition of a 10% tariff in China could lead to higher prices for mobile phones. Economists warn that the cost of these tariffs will eventually be passed on to consumers. Canada and Mexico have also announced that they will impose tariffs on U.S. goods, and said they would raise tariffs further if the U.S. retaliates. The move could have a shock to global trade and exacerbate inflationary pressures. News highlights the well-known artist DS, Suzy Wan, passed away today, 3, and Xiao S confirmed that DS passed away due to influenza complicated by pneumonia at the age of 48. Big S debuted in 1994 with 10 Minutes of Love, and later starred in Meteor Garden and became popular all over Asia and became a representative of idol dramas. She has dated many well-known male stars, and married Wang Xiaofei in 2010 and has a son and a daughter. After the divorce, he remarried Gu Junyi and lived happily, but unfortunately died of illness before the third anniversary of marriage, which made people feel shocked and regretful. News highlights the 2026 6th WBC World Baseball Classic qualifying tournament. Chinese Taipei team started training on the 3rd, and captain Chen Zhixian said that he would unite the team with the role of Li Changbo. The list of 36 people was released. The head coach is Zheng Huizhu, the pitcher coach Lin Yueping, the cow sheet coach Wang Jianmin, the catchers include Gao Yuzhe, Lin Jiachen, Zhang Xiaohong, and the inner and outer fielders are Lin Ziwei, Zhang Yechen, Chen Zihao, Chen Zhixian, etc. News highlights the DPP Legislative Yuan Caucus announced the personnel layout for the new session, with Ke Jianming and Wu Saiyao, Secretary General, continuing to serve, Lin Chuyan and Wang Yushuan, Deputy Secretaries General, and Chen Pu as Secretary General. Ke Jianming described the new team as the strongest anti-recall team in history, and emphasized that it will launch a fierce attack in defense against blue and white, and announced that important bills such as the election and recall law and the general budget will be handled in the coming week. News highlights DS recently died suddenly in Japan due to influenza complicated by pneumonia at the age of 48. Influenza is currently endemic in Taiwan and Japan, and the number of influenza-like visits in China has reached the highest level in nearly a decade. The CDC reminds the elderly over 65 years old, infants and young children, high-risk chronic patients and pregnant women to pay special attention to their health conditions and seek medical attention as soon as possible if they have any dangerous signs of influenza such as dyspnea, shortness of breath, cyanosis, or altered consciousness. In addition, vaccination and good hygiene can help reduce the risk of infection. News highlights when President Lai Ching-te attended the Chinese New Year activities for Taiwan businessmen today. During his speech, a Taiwan businessman, Ye Yongsong, shouted that Chairman Lai hoped that the people in charge would not make trouble, and expressed the hope that they would avoid recalling and other acts, otherwise they would waste financial resources. At this time, Lai King was immediately concerned by the followers, and the situation at the scene once attracted attention. News highlights actress DS, Suzy Wan, died suddenly due to complications from the flu, shocking all walks of life. According to the tour guide who received the Su family sightseeing, DS developed symptoms of cough and asthma on January 29, and was sent to the hospital on the 31st due to the deterioration of his condition, and finally passed away on the morning of February 2. The tour guide said that if DS can seek medical treatment in time, he may be able to save her life, and lamented that if she goes to a big hospital earlier, she may be able to save her. News highlights recently, there have been frequent air traffic accidents in the United States, and another Fayan incident was reported on the 2nd. On a United Airlines flight from Houston to New York, when it was about to take off, the right engine of the plane suddenly caught fire and black smoke came out, and the passengers on board panicked. Flight attendants urgently instructed passengers to evacuate and were not allowed to carry luggage. After the incident, 104 passengers and 5 crew members were safely evacuated and no one was injured. The Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, said it would investigate the cause of the accident. News highlights actress DS, Suzy Wan, died suddenly in Japan due to influenza complicated by pneumonia, and the family decided to deal with the cremation locally and bring the ashes back to Taiwan. According to the regulations of the Ministry of the Interior, if a loved one dies abroad, it is usually cremated there before the ashes are shipped back to Taiwan. Family members need to provide documents such as death certificate, cremation certificate, and passport of the deceased, and handle them in accordance with regulations. The SS family is currently negotiating farewell arrangements, and the whole process has made the family deeply saddened. News highlights the Zhonghua County government announced that it will launch a subsidy for the elimination of 2-stroke locomotives this year, and each locomotive can receive 3,000 yuan. The subsidy for replacing old locomotives with electric locomotives has also been increased from 10,000 yuan to 12,000 yuan, and the subsidy from the Ministry of Environment can be received up to 15,300 yuan. The plan aims to reduce air pollution, with more than 110,000 old locomotives phased out so far, reducing 17 metric tons of PM2.5 and 265 metric tons of carbon emissions. The application has been fully changed to online processing, and details can be found on the EPA's website. News highlights actress DS, Suzy Wan, died of influenza complicated by pneumonia in Japan at the age of 48. After confirming the news, the SS family thanked everyone for their concern and expressed their deep memory for her. However, Zhang Lan, the ex-mother-in-law of Big S, did not directly mention Big S in a post on Weibo, but wrote "Don't envy anyone, be brave and be yourself," which caused a large number of netizens to be dissatisfied, criticizing her for publishing such content at this moment, and expressing strong disgust for her attitude. News highlights a general recall wave has been set off across Taiwan, with 18 constituency recall groups delivering the first stage of recall proposals to the Central Election Committee this morning, with a total of more than 100,000 signatures. The targets of the recall include Fu Kunking, chief of the Kuomintang Legislative Yuan Caucus, Taitung legislator Huang Jianbin, and Taichung legislator Yan Quanheng. The recall group accused the blue and white legislators of pushing controversial bills and cutting budgets to affect local development. Since blue and white passed an amendment at the end of last year to tighten the recall conditions, the group chose to submit documents before the new law came into effect in order to apply the old law. News highlights Big S, Suzy Wan, died of influenza complicated by pneumonia in Japan at the age of 48. Her sister Xiao S confirmed her sister's death on the 3rd and expressed her deep condolences. According to reports, the SS family is currently in Japan and decided to bring the SS remains back to Taiwan after cremating his remains. Big S had a lawsuit with her ex-husband Wang Xiaofei before her death, and Wang Xiaofei will also return to Taiwan from Thailand. The family is still discussing the farewell arrangement, and the distribution of the SS estate has also become the focus of attention. News highlights today, 3rd, on the 6th day of the Lunar New Year, a serious car accident occurred on the 166.8 km Zhongpu section of National Highway 3 southbound in Taipei, involving 6 vehicles, including 5 small buses and 1 large truck. Large trucks tumbled down the slope and occupied the inner and outer lanes, causing traffic jams at the scene and traffic flow of at least 2 kilometers. The accident occurred at 5:19 am and 3 people were injured and have been taken to the hospital. At 7:25 am, police officers cleared the scene and traffic returned to normal. The cause of the accident is still under investigation. News highlights Big S, Su Ziwan, died of influenza complicated by pneumonia on the 3rd at the age of 48, shocking the entertainment industry. Chen Jianzhou, Fan Wiki and other S-gang friends expressed their unacceptable grief, saying that they would always remember Big S. I recalled 30 years of friendship and said that the death of Big S left eternal sadness in her heart. Wu Zongxian and Lin Chiling also expressed their condolences to S, saying that his talent and temperament will always remain in the hearts of the people. Xiao S is grateful to be with her sister for a lifetime, and will always miss her. News highlights Fei Vincent Jr., the former president of the major leagues, died on February 1, 2025, at the age of 86. Vincent was the 8th president of the major leagues, serving from 1989 to 1992, and despite a number of major decisions during his tenure, he was forced to step down by a vote due to tensions with the club's owners. He succeeded Ross after the suspension and handled the World Series following the 1990 Loma Prieta earthquake and the rivalry between Steinbrenner and Winfield. In 1992, he resigned as president in a vote of no confidence. News highlights Big S, Su Ziwan, traveled to Japan during the Lunar New Year and unfortunately passed away due to influenza complicated by pneumonia at the age of 48, and the news shocked the showbiz and international media. Foreign media such as BBC and CNN Indonesia reported that she became famous for the drama Meteor Garden and became a superstar in many countries. Xiao S confirmed his sister's death and sent a message of condolences. Da S is not only a well-known actress, but also a member of the S.O.S girl group, with a wealth of variety shows and film and television works. Her passing has sparked grief and mourning from all walks of life. News highlights the Taipei stock market resumed trading today, affected by the heavy fall in U.S. stocks, which fell 728 points at the open, falling as low as 22,502 points, and closing at 22,694.71 points, down 3.53%. TSMC fell 5.73% and Hon Hai fell 8.06%. However, IC design stocks such as Mediatek bucked the trend and hit new highs, and information security, construction, and biotechnology stocks also performed well, especially biotech stocks rose sharply due to the impact of the influenza epidemic, and stocks such as Guoguangshan and Kia rose by more than 5%. News highlights Big S, Su Ziwan, died suddenly on the 3rd at the age of 48. As a close friend, Wang Weishong issued a statement on behalf of Su's mother, thanking everyone for their concern, and said that the family was very sad because of the sudden death of S, so they could not answer the phone or respond to concerns from all walks of life. Please understand. Due to the need to go through the relevant procedures in Japan, her family has not yet been able to return to Taiwan, and hopes that the reporter will respect the SS wish and no longer follow, which is what she has always hoped to achieve before her death. News highlights Taiwan stocks fell sharply today. Hon Hai, 2,317, stock price once fell 9.1%, the lowest touched 163.5 yuan. Guo Taming was worth 28.746 billion yuan due to holding 1.742 billion shares of Hon Hai, becoming the biggest sufferer today. Hon Hai's market capitalization fell from 2.49 trillion yuan to 2.26 trillion yuan, evaporating 0.23 trillion yuan. Affected by the DeepSeek news, AI server-related stocks also generally fell, and the shares of Hon Hai and its senior executives suffered heavy losses. News highlights the news of Big S, Su Ziwan, dying of influenza complicated by pneumonia shocked the whole Taiwan. Lin Shibi, an infectious disease physician and travel expert at the Front Desk Hospital, said that the current epidemic in Taiwan and Japan is the H1N1 virus strain of influenza A, and warned that flu symptoms may cause severe diseases such as pneumonia, encephalitis, or myocarditis. She stressed that influenza has a fatality rate of about 1 in 1,000 and is particularly dangerous for the elderly over 65 years old, infants and young children, pregnant women, and people with chronic diseases, and recommended influenza vaccination. Lam also warned that the influenza epidemic may peak after the Spring Festival and urged the public to pay more attention to their health conditions. News highlights the Executive Yuan has submitted a reconsideration of the law on the revocation and repetition of the recall, and Han Kuo-yu, President of the Legislative Yuan, plans to hold a consultation on the 6th and handle the reconsideration bill on the 11th. Today, 18 groups that recall KMT legislators went to the Central Election Committee to submit proposals, stressing that the old rules still apply to recall motions that were submitted before the amendment of the new law. The Central Election Committee said that as of 10 o'clock today, a total of 19 recall cases had been received, including 18 recall cases of legislators and 1 recall case of county mayors, and these cases will be handled in accordance with the law.